Hey, everybody. I want to welcome you to a very, very, very special workshop today. And it is Become a Photo Editing Pro with Photoshop filters. So what does it mean when we're talking about filters? And then I'm going to ask you a question before we start the class. How many of you used Photoshop before? Okay, great. How many of you did not use Photoshop before? Okay, so we have 3 people that did not use Photoshop before. Which is okay. So I kind of invite you to follow along. And while you do that, just write some information. And then because it's going to be a little bit difficult because it is intermediate. And we know also about the UI already, because we're going to jump right away into the filters. So with that said, let's start. So I kind of prepared a special information over here. Let me just go back here and hide that. And then we're going to see here, we'll talk about what are smart object and smart filters. So what are smart for anybody has an idea what are smart filters or smart object? I see some people smiling. Uh, okay, it is okay not to know right away about that because, like I said before, it is more like advanced or intermediate, and we're going to talk about it. So in Photoshop, let me just go back here, and I'm just going to go in here. Okay. Sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so understanding smart object and smart filters. So let's talk about it for a minute. So smart object are layers that contain image data from raster or vector images, such as Photoshop or Illustrator files. Smart object preserve the image source content with all in original characteristics. So what does it mean? If you have an image and you want to make it smaller or bigger, that's when you are going to create it into a smart object. So any smart object can become a smart filter. Any filter applied to a smart object, again, it's a smart filter. And you can see here kind of like a sample that I gave it here. And then there's 2 ways to place an image in Photoshop. Place embedded, the contents of an image will be embedded and in the Photoshop document. Place linked, create linked smart object whose content are referenced from external image file, which is different. The content of a linked smart object are usually updated when you update the source images. So it's going to be a little bit different. Linked smart objects are different than just copy a regular smart object, and we're going to talk about that. So smart object benefits, of course, you can perform non-destructive transformation, you can work with vector data, you can do non-destructive filtering, and that's what we're going to talk about, mainly non-destructing filtering. Smart object and smart filter, what is the difference between that? The smart object are really just object or images, and you can make it into a smart filter. So here is some information about smart filter. They apply to a smart object. You can apply any Photoshop filter into a smart object. You work with smart filter, you select the smart object layer, choose a filter, and then start working with it. And we're going to describe it and do it now today in the class. And then here, I would take a break for a moment and then click over here on the QR code, and you are actually able to look at the images and download the assets that I have for you guys. So I made it kind of like in a different kind of way to do it. Hello, welcome. So it's okay. Did you use Photoshop before? It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to continue. I'm recording it so you can see that. Some people, yes, absolutely. Okay, absolutely. I'm recording it and everything. Okay, so now what I have here, this is the QR code. And if you click on the QR code, you can see the images, and then you can download everything. You can follow along with me, or you can just watch and then watch the recording and use your own images. So you can really use your own images also when you do this class over here. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back and start Photoshop in a minute. So I'm going to escape from this, and I'm going to go to Photoshop over here. And then you see I'm just opening Photoshop right now. And then I'm going to go to my icon over here, and I have a workspace over here. And then maybe I'm just going to get to a different kind of workspace. So I'm going to go to my workspace and go to HANA PS Test. I have my workspace. I can go back here and reset it. So this is the workspace that I'm going to work with. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to look at regular filter, and we're going to look at few kind of things that I did before just to show you how I worked with it. So it's going to be samples that I did. Whoever watches the video, you are invited to use your own images or use my images to create whatever you want. So I'm going to go to File and Open. And then I have it over here. And then I have the images that I'm going to work with. And then I have the assets over here. And then you can see over here just an abstract that I worked with. And then I might go back here and open this image over here. So look what I have over here. I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to go to Show, and then I don't want to see the guide so you can see it a little bit better. What do you see here on the screen? I have 3 artboards over here. And then in each artboard, I created something. So let's look and check it out for a minute, just to understand what's going on here. I'm going to turn off, and I'm going to see the first artboard. I'm going to zoom in to the first artboard, and then we're going to go in and duplicate and work and do the same thing here. In this artboard that I have one group, and I have brushes. I do have some layer masking, and I do have an image over here. And then this image has some kind of effect on it. And all the way down, I have another image and another image. And all the way down, I have the background that I have here. And you can see the effects that you have. And then I'm just going to go in and bring it here just to show you. So these are kind of ideas for your references to see what can you do with filters in Adobe Photoshop. And then I'm going to go into File, Open, and go back to my assets. And then we are going to go in to work with the digital resume. And what I have here, I'm going to click on that. And I'm just going to go and open it again. And I created here a digital resume. Once again, look what I did here. I'm going to look at the abstract over here, and I have different kind of filters that I used over here to create the stuff over here to create a digital resume. So let's start working with it. So we're going to start looking at regular filter, and then we are going to start combining it into one big composition like you have it here. So I'm going to go to File and Open. And I'm going to my files that I have here, and in the assets that I have over here, I'm going to go in and open Still Life with Still Life. And this one is just a simple still life that I want to go and work with. Oops, sorry, I just deleted the stuff that I have. I'm going to go and actually duplicate the layer, Command or Control J, and then I'm going to call it Basic. And I am going to click on that and create something. So if I want to go and make a different kind of composition, I can create a filter to entire image, or go in and create a composition with it. We're going to go in first and go to filter, convert to smart filter. Could I have done it to go to the flyout menu and say convert to smart object? Absolutely. Smart object and smart filter are basically the same thing, but the filters, I have filters on top. So I'm going to convert it to smart filter. The first time that they're telling you you are enabling the adding the smart filters to the selected layer will be converted into a smart object. Okay, don't show it to me again. I'm good to go. Now, let's say, what do we want to do? Do we want to create a smart filter to the entire thing? Or do we want to go in and select? And let me show you some good, fun little advice. What if I don't want to start selecting? It is hard, but I want to start doing something. So while using it as a smart filter, I'm going to go to filter and look what I have here. I have the blur gallery. I have the blur filter, distort, noise, pixelate, render, sharpen, stylize video, and others. And then I have something that says filter gallery over here. Then I have camera raw filters, lens correction, liquify, and you see here that the vanishing point is basically grayed out. So why is it grayed out? Because vanishing point is not a smart filter. So the first thing that I really want to do, maybe I want to change the look of the image. So I'm going to filter and I'm going to go look at the camera raw filter. When I'm in the camera raw filter, it will take me to another workspace. Of course, it tells me now that is a new camera raw. Of course, we have it all the time. I'm going to go and get started. So I'm going to leave it like this. And now we are in a different space of camera raw. So what do I want to do over here? Maybe I want to click on the exposure, but I'm going to be very careful because look what happened. I have the clipping over here, and if I expose it too much, I'm going to take away the colors. Not a good thing to do. So I'm going to check the exposure. Then I'm going to go in and click on the contrast, maybe the highlights a little bit, maybe the shadows. Click on the whites and click on the blacks on and off to see if I like that. Now I can see it before and after. So it's a little better than before. What if I want to work a little bit with the colors? So I'm going to change and look at the texture over here, play a little bit with the clarity, and then maybe add some grain to it so it doesn't look so digital. And I can go through everything that I have, but I'm going to click OK. So look what happened when I clicked OK. It is a smart filter. So now I can go to camera raw and see the before and after. And I'm actually going to leave this one over here, and then I'm going to duplicate it. Command J. And then the next one below, I'm going to I'm going to go back here and I have it over here. And you can see I have it on top. So what else do I want to go and do to this one? I want to create some kind of a fun filter to make it look a little bit better. Maybe to the background, maybe to the foreground, maybe the lemons. And then we can do different kind of things to it. So if I'm going to go to filter, and then I'm going to go into the filter gallery, it takes me here to the filter gallery, and right away I see some changes, but I really don't want to use it from here. And I'll tell you why. Because if I use it from here, it will register in my layers panel that it is a filter gallery, and it doesn't tell me right away what is it exactly. So I'm going to cancel it out, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to go to my preferences file. Command or Control K brings me to Photoshop preferences, and all the way to the left side, what I have over here, I'm going to go in to file handling, And then it's not over here. It is workspace. No, let me show you where it is. I always forget. It's probably going to go in and be in the plugin, of course. And in the plugin, I'm going to go in and say, show all filters, gallery, and groups names. So what does it mean? I will show the filter gallery already as a group and names. And then I'm going to go and click OK. Change will take effect the next time you start Photoshop. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to do File and Save As. And then I'm going to save that as Still Life PSD as a Photoshop file. And really, I'm going to go to Photoshop and quit it. I'm not going to save the others that I have over here. And I'm going to click on Photoshop again. And now you'll see the stuff over here in the filter gallery. So I'm going to go into File and Open. I'm going to my Still Life. It is open and you can see I have the camera raw, but now I'm going to filter and look what I have over here. I have the artistic gallery, I have the blur gallery, I have all the stuff of the filter gallery that I have. So I'm going to go in, not to sketch, I'm going to go to artistic and I'm going to go to dry brush. And now I'm looking on the right side and I'm clicking and playing with the dry brush filter. And then I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the effects that you have over here. And I'm going to click OK. So really what you have right now, it says dry brush. I do know it is in the regular filter gallery, but if I don't want to start searching for the filter, it's already here and I have it, I can turn it on and off. I'm going to double click on it to bring it back. And then maybe I'm going to click on a paint dabs over here and make it a little bit more. This is a very high res file, so you don't see the stuff right away. And I'm going to click OK. And that's why it takes a little bit longer. When I'm going to go back here and I'm zooming in, and you can see that I have some kind of painting on top of it. But now I kind of want it to be a little bit easier to work with. So I'm going to go to File and Image Size. And I'm actually going to make the size a lot smaller. And I'm going to save it. And now, because it's smaller, you'll see the filter a little bit better over here. My file was a little bit too big. And look at the paint dabs over here. They're really looking kind of great. I made it kind of fuzzy and looking like it is a painting. But now I really want to do something else with it. I'm going to have my foreground to black and my background to white. And I'm going to filter. And I'm going now, not to the artistic, to the sketch. And in the sketch, I might go back here and look at graphics pen. And what graphics pen is doing, it takes the foreground color and the background color and make it like it is a drawing. So this is the graphics pen. I can have the length of the stroke a little bit different. I can make it a little darker or lighter. I can also decide, do I want right diagonal, horizontal, vertical? Yes. If you have a question, please ask me. If you want to follow along, that would be great. Yes, by all means, you can open your own images. When we send you an email about this workshop, we said, you can use my assets, but really, this is something that you can use any image that you have to play with these wonderful filters that we have here. So now I have it here and I click OK. And look what happens. Whoa. First of all, I really like it. I can have it just like that, of course. But what if I still wanted the colors from before? So you can see between the three filters that I have, there's lines and tiny little arrows. If I double click on it, I will open the blending option and of the graphics pen, and I can go in and do multiply. And look what happened to multiply. I got some kind of dark image when I have multiply, a little too dark for me. Maybe I do darken, or maybe I'll jump over to overlay. And when looking at overlay, look what you have. Now I have the colors that I have here. And yes, I am playing with blending modes. So this is really great to know what blending modes are doing. Blending modes are not changing the pixels, they're just changing the look of the pixels at the moment, and they are relating to the image that you have below. So you have different kind of blending modes, and I can go in and change that. Let's say hard mix, look what happened. If I go into hue, I got something completely grayscale over here. But if I went in, let's say to soft light, it's kind of a cross between overlay with a little less kind of, it's a little bit more muted. You can go in and play with the stuff. Linear doesn't do anything at the moment. Pin light didn't do anything unless this is what you want. So I'm going to go in and do soft light. I kind of like the soft light and click OK. So now, what else can I do over here? I can add more and more filters, one on top of each other. So I can even go to the paint dabs over here, click OK, and then go between the two of them. And now look what I have. So the paint dab is reading the camera raw from before. It's super, super dark. So I might double click on it again. And then I'm going to play a little bit with the colors that I have, or maybe I'm going to have it maybe also overlay if I like to go back here and have it something like that. And then if I click OK, I get something a little bit different. So at the moment, isn't it cool? This is really great. And I actually edited my image that I have just using filters. I didn't even use any kind of selection. And look how excited I am at the moment. Yes. Any questions? I see everybody is smiling and everybody is happy because this is a fun actually seminar because you get to play. There's no really rules. I'm not going to tell you you did the wrong thing because everything actually looks wonderful. But what if, and let's look at more stuff in here. You can see in our layers panel, I have a square over here. And what is it? Yep. You're right. It is a layer mask, right? So this one is a layer mask. So what happens with the layer mask? We can use a brush, we can use a gradient to go in and reveal or conceal the stuff that we have. However, to remember, with filters that we have, it goes from the top to the original, and the layer mask, it doesn't go from one filter to another. So if I'm going to go to the layer mask and I'm going to black as a foreground and white as a background, if I'm going to go to my gradient tool and use linear gradient, look what I'm doing. Or I'm going to go to the other side and look what I'm doing over here. So at the moment, the top one does not have any filters and the bottom one has filters. So this is something else that you have to take into consideration when you're working with the stuff. Of course, the other thing is to go in and do some kind of selection and dedicate the smart object or the smart filter to the selection. So I'm going to stay here and I'm going to save. And I'm going to my artboard tool. I'm going to click and drag around the object that I have or the image. And it tells you that it is a artboard. And I'm going to double click on the artboard and I'm going to call it stage 1, no selections. So I did it with no selection and I'm all good. But while I have it over here, I'm going to hold down the Option or Alt key and duplicate. And now I have a duplication of the same artboard, but in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to work on this area and use selections. So I'm going to look at the stuff, and the first thing I'm going to is actually deleting the filter. I don't want to have this filter, so I'm going to delete this filter that I have, and I just have it as a smart object with no filter. I might not need the other one underneath it. I'm going to use a little bit less, but now I'm going to select some stuff. So how am I going to select? We all know selection in Photoshop, and this is why I mentioned you need to know a little bit about Photoshop in order to apply and work with filters and then create some stuff. So I'm going to my object selection tool. And then you can see over here, I do have right away, it tells me that it wants to go in and select this beautiful vase over here. So I'm selecting the beautiful vase. I'm not going to make the perfect selection, but while I have it here, I'm going to go to Select and Mask and check out how it looks. And I'm going to see it on black. And this is my vase right now. Not bad. I'm going to select that. And this is what I have at the moment. And I can play with it a little bit. But at the moment, if I want to clean it a little bit, I'm going to go to the left side to the brush. And then I'm just going to go and clean that a little bit. Like I said before, I'm not going to do the most amazing selection. And all the way down over here, what I'm going to go in, I'm going to go and make it into a selection, or I'm going to go in and make that into just a new layer in this case and click OK. So this is what I have here. I have it into a new layer, and then this is my new layer just on top of the other one. And then I'm going to call it vase. Zooming out from it, I'm going to my filter and convert it to smart filter. So now just the vase is your smart filter at the moment. And now really I can go to the filter, I can go to artistic, I can go to pixelate, I can go into sketch, texture. Maybe I'm going to go again to artistic, and then I'm going to do rough pastel. And look at that, I have the rough pastel over here, and it's just doing it to my filter at the moment. And you can see here, just that has my filter, and I can go and create some other stuff. I can also hold down my Command or Control key, load the selection of the filter, and if I decide to give it kind of a tint of color, I might go into my adjustment layer to hue and saturation, and over here, I might go and just colorize it. Or if I just want to change the hue, look what I have over here. I have a vase that it is really with dual colors that I have here, and it's kind of like looking really great. And then I can play with the saturation and make it lighter or darker if I want. And look at that. I'm starting to kind of work with my filters and my selections. So I might go to the vase and to my adjustment, select the two of them and group it, and then call it vase. Can I make the whole thing together as a smart filter and create another smart filter with it? Of course I can, but I really don't want to do that, because really what I want to do at the moment, I want to go into my lemons. So I'm going to go to my lemons and then select that and just select my lemons. And let's see if it's a good selection. I'm going to go to my area here. I don't want to see the overlay, so I can see just my selection. And at this moment, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Select and Mask. And this is what I get right now. So I see the lemons. They're pretty nice, but I see also part of the bucket that I have over here, which I don't want to see. So I might go in to look at it and look at overlay. And what I hear or see over here, I might take away the stuff over here because I don't want to see that. So this is what I have over here. I might go to the brush, believe it or not, and I'm just going to go back here and make it a little bigger and basically take it away. So you can see I'm using my selection tools to work with the selection that I have just to get these fun looking lemons over here. I'm not going to do the perfect selection, I know, because we have a lot to cover, but you can understand that in real life, I'm going to do awesome looking selections over here. And then basically I have just the lemons over here working for me. And I'm going to go back and even take away just the shadow. And it's all good. Once I have that, I'm going to go and maybe make that as a selection, or I can make it into a new layer with a layer mask already. So I have a new layer with the layer mask, and then I can go in and bring the other stuff. So this is the new layer with the layer mask on top of it. Why is it good to do a new layer with the layer mask? Because if I didn't create a good selection, I still can work with the selection that I have over here. Once I have that, I'm going to go to Filter, Convert to Smart Filter. What should I do now? I'm going to go to Filter, and let's go into maybe Artistic, and then I'm going to go to rough pastels, and then I'm going to go and play with it a little bit more and click on that and get some fun stuff over here. So you can see now every area that I have basically has some kind of filters that I want to go and work with. If I wanted to create more, I can go in and continue working with it. So what I'm trying to say is you can work with selection when you do filters, but you can also work just right away on top of that and then play with it. So what does it mean? I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to go to the basic copy maybe, or I'm going to go in and create kind of a global look to it. So I might go to the top of the vase and I'm going to create some kind of effect with hue and saturation. And then if I'm going to go back here, look what happens over here. It is a global effect to the entire area that you have. And now I have some kind of duotone look to it. Since it's global, I will go to my layer mask, and then I'm going to decide that part of it has the colors and part of it does not have the colors. And if I zoom out a little bit, I have different kind of looks and look at my retouching of the area from a very, very simple still life that I have in, I just got, look what I'm having, something a little more kind of like nicer with a lot of colors, and it looks and gives it a different kind of way of working. So I'm going to save that. And I'm going to jump over to another filter that we have. Under the filter menu bar, you can see that you have the filter gallery that we talked about it. I opened it into artistic. We have the liquify filter. We have the camera raw filter, but you also something that goes in and say neural filters. They are grayed out at the moment, but these are new sets of filters that will enable you to create some wonderful stuff when you are working and then do amazing stuff to your images. How many of you used neural filters before? You didn't. Okay, that's okay because they're new and some of them are still in the beta phase And after we're working with them, I'm going to go in and open my public beta in Photoshop, and then we're going to use beta filters. So I'm going to close that and go to Command K again, and I'm going to say, don't show me the home screen when I open. So I'm going to have everything over here, and I'm going to go File and Open. And in the files that I left for you guys, in the assets, it says Neural Filters. And look what I have over here. First of all, I have something that I finished over here just to show you. And this is what we're going to do. So this is a portrait. And what if you need to prepare a portrait of yourself and you want to make it kind of different, but you're going to give it different kind of looks? Look what I have over here in my layers panel. And we're going to go in and create something like it. The first artboard that I do have the image itself, and I have something that says neural filters. And neural filters, basically, they're not going to say which filter you used. So if I'm going to click on it, it tells me that I used over here some kind of a color transfer. And then I went to the other one, I did another color transfer, and in the last one, I used neural filter one on top of each other. So I use two of them, one on top of each other. So let's say we want to create something like this. So if you have your own image, by all means, please open your own image. Can be a portrait, can be a landscape, anything that you feel like working with. And then we're going to take a look at the neural filters. So I'm going to, and it takes, sometimes it is slow. File, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to say File and Open, and I'm going to open this image. This is the image that I worked with. I'm going to zoom into it, and the first thing, I'm going to go back here and say, call it Model. And now I'm going to go right away to Filter, Convert to Smart Filter. You always want to do that if you can, unless the filter that I is using is not compatible to smart filters. Does that make sense? Because some of them are not compatible. Who are they? Do you see over here, vanishing point is not? And then you have another one under, I think, render. You have flame, picture frame, and tree. They are not compatible to smart filters. Also, if you go to image and adjustment over here, the one that are grayed out here are not compatible to smart object and not smart filters. So I'm going to go first to null filter. If it is the first time that you are using it, and I'm emphasizing it, if it is the first time that you're using neural filters, some of the filters that you have, you're going to need to download it. Some of them are beta. So let's say I have skin smoothing. I don't want to use that. Smart portrait. I don't want to use that right now. And then I'm going to do that. I'm going to go in to color transfer. And I'm going to turn it on. So I turned on the color transfer, and I'm going to click on one of the images over here. And you can see all the way down, it is starting to kind of work. And then I'm going to go back here, and in a minute, you're going to see some kind of look to it. And then it takes too long right now. And then I'm going to see the before and after. We don't see anything right now because, okay, now it does this over here. You can see I have it here. I have the color over here. I don't like it. I'm going to go into this color. No, I don't like that at all. So I'm not going to go and use that. And I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go in to transfer style. So in this style, I click on Van Gogh style over here. So I have sets of presets. Some of them I didn't even download yet. So maybe I want to download a preset that I didn't touch before, and you can see I'm downloading it. So this is one, this is another one. Or I'm going to stay with Van Gogh over here. The other thing is I'm going to go in and play with the strength. I'm going to go in and click on the style. I'm going to do background blur if I want, so I can blur a little bit the background. And then I can preserve the colors if I want. So if I preserving the colors, what you see over here, it takes the image and preserve the colors. If I don't want to preserve the color, it goes to the Van Gogh that I have over here. And I'm just going to go and play with it and then play a little bit with that. And let's say I'm okay. You want to go and do the output is as a smart filter. You can do the output to a new layer with masked smart filter and a new document. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make it into a smart filter and click OK. And now in a minute, this is what I got. So I have the first one. I can do other stuff to it. I can do adjustment. I can do work with the layer mask. Well, what if I decide? So a lot of time I might go back and double click on it and underscore and say model with Van Gogh. Why? Because remember, it tells you neural filters and it doesn't tell you which one you used. But if I gave myself a hint, I'm going to know what it is right now. I'm going to go to my artboard now. Click and bring the artboard. Hold on the Option or Alt key if you're using Windows. And I have something else over here. And here, what I want to do is I'm going to take away the neural filter completely. And I'm going to use something absolutely different. So I'm going to go into File and Open before that. And I'm going to click on Red Eye PSD. That's having there. Going back to the model, going to Filter and Neural Filter. And this time, what I want to do is I want to create Makeup Transfer. So you have to select an image. You can do from the neural filter demo, select from the computer somewhere, or I have the image that I just opened. And look what happened to this image already. So this one, what he did is basically made a transfer of the colors that I have on the other image and made that she has a certain kind of makeup over here. And the makeup that we have here is basically falling into the right places over here. So now I'm going to click OK. If it is too much, I can go to my mask. I can go to my brush and then go in to my brush and basically kind of like conceal some stuff that I have and make it a little bit different. Now I can go to a different kind of filter if I want. Do I want to add the stuff here? I might just go back here to artistic. Why not? And then I'm going to go to sketch and I'm going to go to maybe halftone pattern. And then I'm just going to go back here and then make it with circles and make the size and click OK. And look what I have. So this is the problem that I have here because I do have a mask. So to remember the mask. So I turned off the mask that I have. And now I'm going to double click and I'm going to go to multiply and look what I get. Or I can go into overlay and look how awesome this looking. So I do have some different looks to it with two kind of filters. How about vivid light? No, not so much. Pin light? Oh, this is kind of nice. You can see here, it gives it kind of a little tone around her face and kind of doesn't do anything to the background. Again, that's when you start playing right now. And this is what I said in the beginning. This is fun. I did some explanation a little bit about smart object and smart filter, how they work, but really you get a complete freedom over here. Any questions? I see everybody is really smiling. So if you are creating something and you want to share it with us, by all means, you do have our emails, and please send us some upload of stuff that you did during the class, and we can maybe print it or put it on our screens and show somebody what we created in when we went in and created in the class. So I'm going to go and file and save as. And then going back here to my desktop, and then I'm going to call it portrait. We're going to do one more. So again, I'm going to select the artboard over here. The first artboard, I can say Van Gogh filter. The second one, I'm going to say makeup transfer. And what filter did I use? I already forgot. It was halftone. So I'm going to call it make a transfer and halftone. And look at this. This is really cool. Let's look at another artboard over here. Option click. And now once again, I can leave and do stuff on top of it, or I just decide, you know what, I don't want any filter. I want to start from scratch over here. Let's check out something else we have in the neural filters. So I have style transfer that we did before, and I have color transfer, and then let's look at some other stuff that we have. So I do have photo restoration over here. And if I'm looking at that, I can go into the restoration and just enhance the image. And then I enhance the face. And then I'm just going to go back here and look at the adjustment. And let's say noise reduction, color reduction and noise, halftone artifact reduction, and then JPEG reduction. So look what I just did here. I got just stuff like looks a little bit different. Maybe you wanted to create something that looks like an image that doesn't have any filters on it, but maybe you updated and played with it the way you did that. And then I'm going to go back here and click OK. Once I have that, I can go into filter and neural filter. I can leave it like this, but also I can go in to style transfer and just see if I can put another style transfer on top of that. And that's when I'm getting like something that it's a little kind of all over the place. But yes, I do like it. It's absolutely abstract right now. They're looking one on top of each other, and I really like it. So you can see here, I have the neural filter that I can turn it off. And then I have the other one from below. And I can click on that and click on the other one below. And this is sometimes what happens because of memory. It is going to go and kind of take away, but I'm going to go to a huge brush. And if you have a Wacom tablet, that's even better. You want to go to the brush and make it really soft. And basically, I can go back here and click on that and look what I'm creating. So all of a sudden, you do have the filters over here, and you can start working with the stuff and creating more and more things with it. And I'm start liking it. It looks a little bit different than the other one, and I really like what I see here, so I can save the file. I might go back to the one all the way here and double click on the halftone. And instead of pin light, I'm just going to make it overlay. And now I like it a little bit more because it looks a little bit better over here. So look at that. Kind of interesting. Having different kind of portraits. And what am I using? I am using filters. I didn't even select it in this case. I'm using layer mask and I'm using filters. And on the other image that I did, I actually ended up using selection and the filters themselves. I'm just going to go again, save it, file and open over here. And then let's go back here and open something else. And I'm going to go to my neural filters. And one of the stuff that I want to go, I'm going to go and open a PSD file that has a lot of colors already on it. So if I go back here, you can see I have filter gallery on top of it and another filter gallery. But basically, this is what I have in this image. And if I start clicking on it, you can see that I end up changing different color and kind of like playing with it. But what I'm going to do with that, it is still a smart filter over here. I'm going to turn it off now. And I'm going to go to image and I'm going to say duplicate. I'm going to duplicate an image. And then I'm going to do merge layers only. And this is how it looks. This is my original file. I'm going to look and make it into a smart filter. And maybe the first thing I want to do is I'm probably going to camera raw filter, because I want to go and play a little bit with the exposure. It's a very old picture, so I kind of want to go and play with that and see what I can do. And then it's a little bit darker at the moment. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go to filter and neural filters. So one of the stuff in the neural filter, you can see it's seeing the faces that we have. I have makeup transfer, and then I have photo restoration. So if I click the photo restoration over here, and I'm going to click on that, you can see here, maybe I'm going to get some time of stuff for the photo restoration over here. And then I'm going to see if I have a little bit different kind of things over here, if I wanted to go and use it. But actually, I kind of like go back here and I wanted to restore it actually a little bit better. So let's look at the images that I have here. I don't want to have that, but I want to go in and remove artifact. No, I don't want to go and use this one at all. I'm actually going to cancel this out. And I'm going to open a new layer. And then I'm going to call it retouch. And while I have the new layer, I'm going to jump over to my retouching gallery and I have a remove tool over here. I'm going to click sample all layers and I'm basically going to zoom in and maybe see if I can remove some of the artifacts over here that I don't like. I could have done it with the filter, but I kind of like to use this one over here. That's cool. So now I'm going to take the two of them, hold down the shift key, and convert to smart filter. So you can see you can take a smart filter and then convert it to another one. And now I'm going to start working. It is black and white. So let's go to neural filters. And then in neural filters, I'm going to go back here and click on colorize. And this is what I get here on colorize. I'm going to I can choose any profile that I want, retro, purple, yellow. No, I don't like that. I'm going to go, and you choose anything, giving you time to play a little bit and see what you can get over here with the stuff that you have. So at the moment, you can go in and see that. I can go in and retro dark. And let's say I want to go back here and play with it. And I can go and play with the artifacts over here. And then all the way down, I'm going to go color reduction and then noise reduction and then output a new color layer. So that's the new color layer if I want to output it, or I can go in and have it as a smart filter. So look at that. I had a black and white image. Usually I would do that with before. I can do a before and after if I want. So I can show the black and white if I want. So if I want to do before and after, I'm going to do Command or Control J. And then once I'm going to go back here, I'm going to go into the one underneath it, and I don't have the null filter. And the top one has the null filter. So if I want to see it before and after, in this case, I can go to the Move tool. And I'm going to move it all the way down that you don't even see it, and then go to Image and Reveal All. And look what I have right now. All of a sudden, this is what I have. I have before and after, one next to each other. How cool is that? So it's another technique, not with artboard tools, but this one is with before and after, going in and duplicating the layer, and then go in and moving the layer and clicking on Image Reveal All. I might go in Command or Control J and look at that. If I'm going to do any change over here and then go, I have one here and I have the other one over here. So I'm going to go in, and if I'm going to click on that and move it and then go into Image and Reveal All, I'm going to get that. Before it is because, and then now I'm going to go into a null filter and then decide what I want to go and create in this case. So I might go in and change that to a little bit different. I might go in and click in and say retro faded completely. And then I'm going to go to the noise reduction and click OK. And look what I have here. I have different looks for the black and white, so I can continue working. This one has one artboard only. So you can save that and send it to somebody. File save as, and then I'm going to click on that and call it black and white retouching. So it's really cool. And of course, I can go and work with landscape and everything. So now what I'm going to do is let's stay a little bit with the newer filter, and then I'm going to fire up the new public beta, and we're going to look at different filters, which I'm still investigating, but it's going to look really, really cool. So I'm going to go and do select close all because I don't want to have too many things. And now what I'm having over here, I'm going to do file and open, and I am going to open a landscape. And I have a landscape over here. Again, I know I'm repeating myself today. You can use any kind of landscape. I have a simple landscape over here that I use a lot, and I'm zooming into it. And now again, filter, convert to smart filter. You don't want to have it as a regular filter by all means. So what do we do now? I'm going to, again, null filters. I invite you to investigate all of them. We're not going to do all of them. You can do a selection and investigate it, or just going to play with it. I'm going to go into landscape mixer. And look what I have over here. I want to go in and have it during and that's going to be like a fun looking stuff during the day. And then they're giving you different kind of presets over here. Then I'm going to go in and say I have it during the night. Or I can click on a preset that I have, and then that's going to fall into the stuff that I have here. So depending what you're doing over here, I can go in and click on the landscape, and you can start working. You can preserve the subject, And then you can harmonize the subject as well. And look what you're getting over here. You're going to before and after over here. So now if I go in, I'm making it into a smart object over here. And again, you can go in and duplicate it and either create another artboard or just duplicate it. So depending how you want to work with your workflow, artboards maybe create a little bit more kind of memory, but I'm going to play with that. By the way, if you don't hold down the Option key or Alt key, you create a empty artboard. And now I'm going to go in to a neural filter. And you can see it's just waiting for me. Maybe it's a little bit too much for it for a minute. And because maybe I'm recording it, it takes some time, depending. So now hopefully I'm not going to crash. And oops, something else. No filter has exceeded the timeout menu. Okay, timeout. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. It just does it sometimes. So we are going to go in and click OK and not actually work with it. And I'm gonna go to, when you're in doubt, you can go to, and it just did a timeout for me. It's okay. And now I'm just going to click again and maybe going to go in and create it into a sunset. Or maybe I'm going to go back here. Or you can also go and just do a custom thing over here. You also can select an image from your computer that it is going to relate to it. So I can go and select another image, and it might take some colors to the stuff that you have. And just based on that, you can go in and it will go in and play with your stuff over here. And I know I'm doing it pretty fast, so that's why sometimes it is not reading so hard here. I'm just gonna go to the preset because I think it's way too slow right now. And I'm gonna click OK. So this is what I have over here. And can I double click on it on the side and just do a lighten mode, you do an overlay mode. You can also go and do a multiply mode. And I really don't like that at the moment. So I'm not even going to save it. I'm just going to go in and leave it like that. But I'm going to show you another filter that's not neural filter that I actually love. And I do certain things with it. And then we're going to jump into the beta filters. So I'm going to close all. Questions while I'm doing it. I'm going to stop for a minute and see if we have any questions. Yeah. Yeah, you can open any image that you want for the next one as well. And yes, if it doesn't really work exactly like mine, just play with it. Just try to figure out and see how things are. And then this is what you can do while you're working with it. Anyway, no rules at the moment. I'm going to do File and Open. I'm going to go to my assets and I'm going to go to the blur filters. And I'm going to actually open different kind of things. So I'm going to select the first, this is actually the blur gallery, and this is what I played with it. So I might actually open it and show you what I did over here. And then you can see I have some kind of blending mode and different kind of things. I'm going to go File and Open. And I'm going to select the first JPEG. No, the second JPEG. No, the third JPEG. And the fourth, the two of them together. And then click Open. So this is what I have over here. And I'm going to go to this image, select all, and copy. And put it on top of this one and paste. And over here, I'm simply going to go and just play with an overlay mode and then double click on it and call it texture. If I want to create some kind of, I can make it into a smart object, which is going to be a smart filter. And I'm going to create a new layer mask. And basically going to my, and then clicking and creating kind of a layer mask over here. So you're going and create something like that. So you have the image and you have the texture and you have something like that. And now I'm going to open another image. So I didn't do anything with filters, but I'm going to go to iris blur over here. And I'm going to zoom in and right away do filter, convert to smart filter. We do have sets of filters that you can see the result on the screen. And I think that Adobe is getting into it more and more and doing stuff that you are setting stuff on the screen right away. So what I'm doing right now is going to filter filter and blur gallery. And I have iris blur, fill blur, iris blur, tilt shift, path blur, and spin blur. But basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to iris blur. And the way it looks right now, the blur is on the screen itself. If I click on it, I can go in and blur. I can also go into the area that blurred. I can also go in and move it around. And I can also do other spots over there just to show me. And then if I don't want it to blur or I want to blur a lot, look what I'm doing. So this is kind of okay. And then if I'm going to click OK or just going to preview, all what I'm getting is some kind of a blur, which is really cool. But what am I going to use it? Sometimes I can use it for different places, and then we're going to play with it in a second. But I really use it for something else a lot of time. Do you see all the way up in your option bar? You see Save Mask to Channel. And then if you say Save Mask to Channel over here, when I go in and click OK, what I get here is the blur gallery. But if I go into my channels, what I have over here, I have a mask. So I'm going to load the selection of the mask by Command or Control clicking on it. And then I'm going to my layer, and then I'm going to make a layer from a selection, or I can even make a layer mask from it. And then look what happened here, that I made a layer mask. What happened here, I did it too fast. I did invert it. So I'm going to Command or Control Z, go to Select and Inverse. And then I can go to Layer Mask over here. And look what I got over here. I got a beautiful vignette that it's made for me from the blur gallery. I can turn it on. I can turn it off. So now if I go to the image itself, and then I'm going to go to the image that I started already, and I bring it over, look what I'm getting over here. It is small because the resolution is not really matching, which you have to really be careful with it. But I wasn't really careful, so I just did it a little bit different. But what you have over here, look at that. You have kind of like a nice vignette. Oh, and what did I do here? It didn't really do the right selection. No harm done. I'm just going to go back here, and with the mask, I can turn it on and off. And of course, I can go in and change that to an overlay mode and move it. And I created some kind of fun vignette to go in and put it somewhere on top of any object or any kind of like effect or composition that I have. Hopefully it is clear what I love in that. And I'm going to go back to the iris blur. I could have done it actually in a different way. I can go in and take away the mask right now and double click on it. And now I have here, and I don't blur it as much, but I can go and create another blur. So depending how you create your image, you can just have an image that just looks like this, and you don't have to have a vignette. It's just depending where you're creating your little blurs, and now you have different blurs in the area that you have, and that's going to be the entire image as well. So I tried to show you two ways of using the blur gallery filter, which is really awesome when you're working with it. Any questions? I know some of you do not use channels. Highly recommend to start looking into channels. I actually have a Behance video about channels and saving selection to the channel. So if you follow me on Behance, you can see some of my videos there explaining working with channels and layers in Photoshop. I'm going to click OK, and this is what I have right now. And I have the blur gallery, the before and after. And if I double click on it, and click OK, this is what I have here. And you can have image just to look like that, and you can just bring it to another image as well. So now I'm actually going to, let's say, I think we did more. Oh, one thing we didn't do. File and open. And I'm going to go to my assets, and I'm going to go into the neural filters, and I have an image over here that has kind of like a lot of the skin is not looking good. Of course, I can go in and clean it with all the effects that I have, but if I just want to blur it a little bit, I'm going to make it into a smart filter. And then go to filter, neural filter, and I have the skin smoothing. I know a lot of people that do skin retouching gonna be really against it, but if you want to do a fast one just to show somebody, not like a real skin professional retouching, but just showing to them that you're smoothing a little bit the skin, and it's gonna be nice and clean. And later on, you're gonna do something to it. Look at that. It's pretty fast and it's really cool. And I'm clicking on that, and the skin is so much nicer over here. And of course, you can do the before and after while working with it. Does that make sense so far? How are we doing? It's a lot of fun, right? I know. I mean, I can go on and on and on and just showing you different stuff that I created with different kind of filters over here. And then you'll see some kind of results to different one. Let's say not here, but I'm going to have, oh, okay. So we're going to see in a minute some other stuff, and look at this. I just opened this one over here, and these guys are different kind of filters. For that, what I did over here, I used the Parametric Filters. And if I double click on it, it will just not gonna do anything because it's the wrong software at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna close Photoshop 2025. I'm not gonna save. And then I'm going to click on Adobe Photoshop Beta. And this is the latest version of Adobe Photoshop Beta. And it tells me that I have a new version that I can update. I'm not going to update it right now. I'm going to take a while to do it. But what I'm going to do is just use this beta at the moment. And I'm going to do File and Open. Go back to USC seminar, go back to the asset I gave you, and go to the parametric filters over here. And then I'm going to go back here, and you see different kind of effects that I already have with the stuff that I play with. So I'm going to select the first one. And then I'm going to go to my layers panel, and it tells me time to update here. And okay, so I'm just gonna go back here. I don't know why it doesn't let me work with it, but I'm gonna go into the layer, and I'm gonna bring it here, and I'm just gonna go into the background that I have. So what you see here, I just end up selecting the stuff. I'm selecting the ghost and did everything. I did the background and other stuff that I have. And let's click on the first background and duplicate it. And go to filter, convert to smart filters over here. And then I'm going to go to parametric filters right away. And that's what happens over here in parametric filters. I can tell you that I investigated everything, but I have some of my filters. You can end up creating the stuff, and then you have some stuff that you say, let's say black and white. And this is have some kind of black and white over here. And then while you have it over here, you can go in to your properties, and under your properties, you can start playing with the stuff that you have. And you have the parametric filters right now over here. So you can go and smooth and contrast over here. I don't want the black and white. I'm just going to go into maybe distortion. That's not good. I'm going to go to the color. Wow, this one is the color that I have over here. And then what it does right now, automatically, if I'm going to go to my layers panel, you can see that it created a smart filter for me right away. So I didn't even need to do that. It just created for me a regular smart filter. So what am I going to do right now with it? I'm just going to go back here and go to the default. And in the properties, I'm going to go and say sepia. I have gradient cyan, and I have grayscale if I want some grayscale. Another thing that you do, you can say you can do a new preset and just create a new preset if you want. I'm just going to go into the default, but I'm going to click on another color to create the default. And that's going to be my new preset. And then I'm going to call it brown. So I created already a brown preset. So now I'm going to go to sepia, and I'm going to go to grayscale, and I'm going to go into brown. And this is what I have over here. You can have a gradient overlay on top of it. And then you can decide how to work with the gradient overlay. You can start plugging in some different numbers and start playing with the luminosity if you want, and with the contrast of the image that you have over here. Once I have here, I'm going to go back to my layers, and right away, this is what it gives you over here. I'm going to double click. And yes, I can go in and play with different kind of blending mode, the way you play with the stuff that you had before. So I'm going to my workspace, which I made a mess in a minute, and I'm going to reset it so you can see what I have here. And this is the parametric properties for the filter that I just have at the moment. I'm going to click again on the layers. And then once I have that, I'm going to go into filter and parametric filters. And then this time, I'm going to go into emboss. And look what happened here in the emboss. I'm going to get a certain kind of emboss over here. I can play with the threshold. I can play with other distance over here. And then I'm going to go in and create a different kind of things completely. So these are filters that you want to start actually investigating. They are only under the beta area. It is a public beta. I'm going to show you in a minute how to get there. And then you want to start investigating that. So let's say I'm clicking on that and look what I'm getting over here. So basically, this is randomizing the stuff that you have. This is have the amount that randomizes it. This I have different kind of amount. This I have white amount and X amount. And look what I'm getting right now. So I can create kind of some kind of fuzzy looking duplication over here. And if I look at the layers panel, I'm having another one on top of each other. And I have another parametric filter on top of it. And then I have this one on top of each other. So I have another one over here. And then later on, I started kind of selecting stuff and starting kind of colorizing the stuff inside and creating a little bit different. But let's look at something super interesting over here. I have stuff that says PSD fun. Who knows what I did over there? I probably created something and had a lot of good time over here. So what did I do here actually? I actually went in here. I did not have an image. So what I did here, I'm going to turn off the other one. And then I did here some kind of a photorealistic. And I'm looking at the prompt that I have. Photorealistic swirly pond waves wrapping around or something like that. And this is what I have around that. So I kind of did some kind of a AI image. And on top of the AI image, I end up using a parametric filter. And I'm looking at the parametric filter right now, and I use embroidery. So I'm looking at the embroidery, and let's say I'm going to say ultra. And I'm going to zoom into it. And then what kind of embroidery I have. They're giving you two different kind of embroidery, number of colors. So maybe I'm going to have only 4 colors and the density of the embroidery. So if I zoom out, you can see it looks a little bit different. On top of that, I use the embroidery on top of that. So let's say if I wanted to create something absolutely new, file and new, I'm going to make something very small. I'm going to do 8 by 8. I'm going to do inches. I'm going to actually do 6 inches by 6 inches. I'm going to do 72 ppi. Why? Okay, I did 6 by 8. And now while I have it here, I'm going to click on generate image. And I can generate an image from the samples that I have over here. And I think I took it from here. And says photorealistic swirly pond waves wrapping around by flowers and everything like this. And I'm just going to go in and generate. I think I did something like this before too, but this is actually the extra one that you have. So let's see what we get. It takes a moment. Again, this is why I said you can use, oh, look at that. It's kind of cool and looks more or less like the one that I had before, but I might go in and change it a little bit because I'm going to go back here and click over here. And then I'm going to turn off the prompts that I had before. And I'm going to put movement, Art Nouveau, and Cubism. And then I'm going to go back here and generate. So it's going to give me something a little bit different at the moment. So now I can decide which one I want to go and work with. And I can play. Maybe I'm just going to go in with the main one. But I want to go back here and change the colors. So I'm going to click here and say, choose an image, and I'm going to choose another image that's going to give you the colors. And then I'm going to go to the composition preferences, and I'm going to use another image. And now I'm going to go and generate. Who knows what I'm going to get, but I'm playing with something. Of course, I can select the petal. I can do other stuff, but I'm just in filter land in a minute. And look what I'm getting. Whoa, I like this one so much better already. Look at this. Love this one because I have reference to that. And now it's all looking really great. So can I go on top of that and create something? Absolutely, I can go and create something. So I might go into my artboard, zoom out, hold on the Option or Alt key. And then when I go into the artboard, I'm actually going to go in and change it to a different one, or maybe here, or maybe I'm just going to go in here and change that to this one. Oh, no, I'm just going to change that to one of them from before. But now I'm going to go to Filter and Parametric Filters. And I'm going to go in and click on embroidery. It is a new one. And I really like it because I can show somebody, well, I'm going to take my beautiful image and I'm going to go in and make from that looking like I'm building over here. I'm kind of building and I'm building like a rug over here. So I'm randomizing the number of colors. It is giving you up to 8 colors already. And then just the angles of the stuff that I'm going to do. And the preset, I'm going to have a preset from before. This is a default. I have a preset that I call it my rug. Well, I don't know when I did it, but I guess I did it before. I'm going to go and randomize the amount of stuff that I have and then the density. And I don't want it to do so dense over here. And look what you have over here. So if I zoom into it, I can show somebody. So what is it good for? It's good for showing stuff that has like a rug or kind of texture in it. Also, it's great to have like even a Illustrator logo that you want to show that you're going to go and embed it as something and embroider it into a hat. That's when you can go in and work with the stuff and create stuff just for certain things over here. So it's really kind of cool. Again, I'm going to click on it again. I can go randomize it. And then I can go in and play with it. So whenever I click on randomize, it changes every time. I can also go back here and say, I just want 5 colors only, and look what I have over here. So it's really kind of cool. And you see it has the word new underneath it. So this one is a new filter, and people are giving suggestion to different one, and you can use that and share your feedback. And then you're going to tell them that it is really kind of cool. And if you like it, you have it there. And if you like the reference image, you can go in and share the feedback if you want to go and have it here. So I have it here. And now I'm going to zoom out. And then you can see one artboard copy over here. I can go in and create the other artboard, selected it, hold on the Option or Alt key, and this one has some kind of stuff here. I'm going to go in and looks a little bit different. I'm going to make it only 2 colors over here. No, I'm going to make that 6 colors. And then maybe I'm going to randomize it a little bit better. And I can go in and call it new rag. So I just created a new one and I have it here. So you look at this, look what I have over here. Now, once I have it and I'm going to look at that, I can save it as a Photoshop file, of course. I'm going to zoom into it and look at this. It's something that I created with AI. And from AI, I went into the parametric filters and play with it. So now I'm going to go File and Save As. And click on it. And I'm going to call it Rugs. And play with the stuff that we have. So you can see that you have so many ways of working with these filters, and then each filter gives you some kind of another idea and another inspiration. I highly recommend to go to the filter galleries and start checking everything. Also to go into anywhere that you have and start just playing with something. Like let's say I'm going to click here and then look what I'm getting right now. And this one is, I'm just selecting that. I have a parametric filter, and then let's say what I have. So I have a size over here. You can barely see anything because I have the rug, I think, on it. So I'm just going to go and take the parametric filter, and I take this one over. I'm just going to click on rug and go into the top one and start actually playing with that. And I'm gonna click on this one. So look what I have. That's another parametric filter. And then you have properties for the parametric filters. So you can start playing with that. So as soon as you have the properties for the parametric, this is the default, small flip, tile, and close up. So see here, I have different kinds. Sometimes they'll give you something. And look what you have over here. You just have a little kind of circle or a sphere that you want to go in and work with, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to go back here and select that. And I can go in and actually bring it. And this is what I have it on top of that because it does have just the sphere over there on top of it. But I can go in now and actually select it and then just do something else with it. Or I can simply go, let's say, to the area that I have and do something else with it. So if I'm going to go into my selection, and let's say I'm going to go to my selection tool, and I'm just going to select that. I can select that. And I'm going to go back here and make it into a new layer. And now look at this. I have it here and it is inside. So I created this crazy looking sphere from the parametric filters. And now I can go and use that as something in my image. I can go in and select that and go to my blending mode and really go and start playing with it and putting it anywhere that I have. So any question that you guys have, that will be really the correct time to start actually asking question, or I'll give you time to continue playing and I will work around and help you create some of the images. Yes, so I'll give you time to create. We have 15 minutes to go. You guys start creating. And while you guys are creating, I'm actually going to go and open the images that we did today so you can see. So we created something like this with the parametric filters. And while you're doing it, I'm going to go and select another one. And this one is working with the galleries that you have over here. So I can see the layers over here. I actually put directly the layers on top of it so we can see what we have. I'm going to go in and open the portrait over here that we created over here during the class. And I'm going to actually open the still life. Remember, we had the still life from a long time ago. And actually, how about me, while I'm with the still life over here, going to my layers panel and deciding to do something else with it while you guys are creating before I'm going to, and then let's say I'm going to go back here and I'm going to my rough pastel and go and say parametric filters. So I'm going to go back here and duplicate just the image over here. And I'm not going to have the rough pastel. I'm going to take away that and go to parametric filters. So this is what I have here. Maybe I want to make that as an oil paint, and look what happened when he made it into an oil paint, because this is what I have here, just selecting just part of the stuff. So I'm having as an oil paint over here, which I kind of don't want to have that. And then I'm going to go and make it actually to the entire thing that we have. So I'm going to select it, and I'm just going to go in and put it in oil paint. So look what happens here. I have the oil paint. I can go in and play with my filters over here. I can randomize it. And now I have parametric filters and I can save it again. So this is basically what we did today. We looked at the regular filters that we have over here. We looked at parametric filters. We looked at neural filters. We looked at the filter gallery. We looked at selections. And we also looked at working with the entire area. So I'll give you for like 10 minutes to play with it. And while you play with it, I will go and walk around. I will leave the stuff on the screen for a while. I'm going to reset my workspace that I have over here. And then while I have it here, I'm going to go and actually stop the recording, and you guys can continue working while I'm working and playing with you. So I'm going to go back here and I am going to stop the recording.